Hi friends, thank you so much for joining me today for another video. So today I am very excited because as well as trying out some new products, I will also be doing a tutorial I wish I had growing up, which is makeup for swollen eyes. Whether your eyes are swollen because you ate too much salt like ramen the night before, or you are just having a good cry, because don't we all need one once in a while? Your eyes may be swollen and puffy, watery, and hot to the touch the next morning, and you just don't really know what to do with makeup to kind of make it calm down. So I just have a couple tips and tricks to achieve the look I have right on my face right now to just kind of combat the swollenness and make certain things accentuate while making other things kind of go away a little. So I hope you guys can find this video useful, and if you want to see how I achieve this look using the products that I used in this video, then just keep on watching. Alright, so as you can see, a girl needs some glow up today. I just have very puffy eyes this morning. This is my way of kind of combating the swollen eyes to make them look not as swollen, even though they may feel very swollen. So today in this video I will be trying out a couple new products here. I have this Physicians Formula Ultimate Muru Butter Collection. I am so excited about this. This thing is huge. Like, you guys don't think it might look huge, but holy macaroni, look at that. Look at that! And that's not all. Like, it slides out like to eternity. Same thing here on this side. You have your lip products and cheek products, which, like, you have the whole collection for the Muru collection in here, so in this little compact box. So I've been dying to try this out, so I figured when I film how I combat puffy looking eyes, or how to do makeup for puffy looking eyes or swollen eyes, I'm gonna try using this to kind of complete my makeup look. And just so you guys know, these aren't like completely new products or anything. They're just products that are new to me that I haven't tried, simply because I'm just one person and there's like a million makeup products out there, and I just can't get myself to spend the money or the time to try everything. So, you know, after moving to California, my skin has been a lot more dry, so I've been wanting to try out some more glowy, more like hydrating foundations. So I don't know if these are hydrating, but they're definitely more glowy foundations. These are the L'Oreal True Match Lumi foundations. I'm gonna be trying those out today. And then last but not least, I will be trying out the ColourPop brush set that I got, because I'm just like really curious about like how these are gonna work, and I know that it was a relatively more affordable brush bundle. I want to see if the quality is good as well, so I'll be trying this brush set. Let me know if you guys want a standalone review for any of the products that I tried today. Just let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so I'm just gonna start off with my eyes, because these are really the main focus point of this video here today. I want to make sure that with this inflammation that I have, they're like quite warm to the touch as well. I want to kind of depuff it and take away any sort of like that fleshy swollen look that I have on my eyes. So the key here today is I'm not using as much shimmers, definitely avoiding like pink or red colors. I'm gonna stick to matte colors that are gonna kind of help recede this puffiness. What some people like to do is put a couple spoons into their freezer or refrigerator and like kind of add the spoons on top of your eyes to cool it like that. There's just like a bunch of ways to depuff your eyes. Like there's the depuffer roller thing. So if you want to do that beforehand to kind of minimize the amount of puffiness you have on your eyes, I think that's also a good idea. Today I'm just going full on without doing any of those steps and just showing you with makeup how to make your eyes look less puffy. So my eyes are primed with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. This is a pretty classic eyeshadow primer, I'd say, and I just have one from Sephora that I got like 2 of, so I've been trying to use these. Now I'm gonna go into the Physicians Formula Ultimate Muru, it's like a hard word to say, Ultimate Muru Butter Collection. Just gotta go for it. And I'll use this eyeshadow palette here, right here, and use some of these matte shades to start creating some shadows or faux shadows into our eyes, just to make the puffiness go away. I'm gonna take this like fluffy eyeshadow brush that's in the ColourPop brush collection. It's the E16 brush. It's very standard, I'd say, in terms of blending brushes go. The shape kind of looks you know, like a typical blending brush. So that's the E16. And I'm going to go into the oh my goodness, it's like sliding out. I'm gonna go into the Physicians Formula eyeshadow here. It's gonna be this lightest brown shade, and it is a matte shade as well. All the shade names are kind of in the back here. I always have a bit of trouble figuring out what shades are what, but I'm pretty sure the one that I just pointed to is called Beach Beige, which is an appropriate name, I guess. Before going on with this like darker shading shade, I do want to mention, if you have like sticky eyeshadow primer that's not very mattifying, I'd say go ahead and use like a matte, creamy, like flesh toned, maybe lighter than flesh tone eyeshadow to kind of go over everything that's like tacky, because that's gonna prevent your eyeshadow from blending seamlessly. I feel like what that's gonna do is make it catch when you're trying to blend. So make sure you set your eyeshadow primer before going in with an eyeshadow to work on your look. So I'll just go ahead and do that as well. I'm just going to take my NYX Highlight and Contour Pro palette. I've had this for a while now. I'm just going to take this shade that is the most flesh toned shade here, and I'm just taking that on a fluffy brush, and I'm just generously applying it, sweeping it all over my eye like this. And you can probably see that what this does is kind of accentuate your eyes and almost make them look even puffier, but you're gonna see that after we add the darker shadows, it's gonna kind of make that effect go away. Okay, so going back to this brown matte shade here on the Physicians Formula palette, again, that shade is Beach Beige, and I'm going to add this onto my crease area, really creating like a shadow. I'm gonna use circular motions and kind of start on the outer corner and work my way towards the inner corner just like this, and sort of use sweeping motions, circular motions, a combination of all of those to create a soft blend. So if you like assess your eyes and you see, okay, like this part looks really swollen or this part looks really swollen, I would just go ahead and put shadow there to just make it kind of go away and not look like it's so swollen. For me, it's just kind of this whole rounded arc area here. So I'm just gonna concentrate on applying a little bit of color at a time, because you don't want it to be color vomit on our eyes, and just make sure that all along you're using the circular motions to blend it seamlessly so that it doesn't look so much like shadow, like eyeshadow. It looks more like a shadow. Does that make sense? Like a natural occurring shadow. Right, so now looking at your eye, you could probably see, if you look straight ahead, that like this portion looks really fleshy, like it looks really thick. And normally I would love like a soft cut crease look, but it's just not the type of look that would look good with puffy eyes for me. So what I'm gonna do is actually make this portion the darkest, so we're kind of going for like a smokier eye look. Oh, another quick thing to know, if your eyes end up being way redder than mine are, I would suggest using a concealer or a very opaque eyeshadow primer to kind of cancel out the redness, because an eyeshadow primer like this Urban Decay Primer Potion, the original one, isn't really gonna help you cancel out the redness. It's really gonna be a concealer or one of these primers that have that like color in it already to cancel out the pigment underneath. The shadow really isn't gonna help you cancel out the redness you might have on your eyes. You want to do that with your primer or your concealer first, and if you're using concealer, make sure you're setting it with powder so that it doesn't crease like crazy. I do also want to say that a lot of my advice may be catered towards you guys that have eye shapes that are more similar to mine, where you might have similar issues with makeup because of the eye shapes that we have. So if you know any of the advice or tips don't necessarily apply to you, obviously do what works best for you. Alright, so now I basically replicated what I did on this eye, and now I'm gonna go ahead and start adding like the darker brown colors. I'm gonna still kind of stay away from like black eyeshadow because I feel like that might be a little heavy. So I'm gonna just go in with a darker brown shade here. It's still a matte shade. It's a chocolatey, nice brown shade, and I'm gonna use this to transition ultimately to this darker, even darker, more rich chocolatey brown here. So this shade is called Off the Coast, and this shade is called Choco Loco. So since I am taking a darker shade to just kind of pack on my lid all over like that, I'm gonna take a flatter brush here. This is the ColourPop E18, and I'm taking this shade right here generously on my brush, and just go ahead and start patting this all over the lid under this crease shade you just put on. Make sure you stay under that so that you kind of keep that natural gradient going on there. So what this is going to do is make the puffiest part of your eyes look less accentuated in a way, because we're not putting any shimmers there. We're not putting any sort of light shades there like white or pink or any like brighter colors. So we're just kind of making it go away. And as you can see, because we just pat this color on, there's not going to be a lot of like blending going on here. That's when you go back to the other blending brush and using gentle circular motions, blend away the edges. Look at how that seamlessly just blends together, and that line really isn't there anymore. And you know, I'm the type of person that really could sit there and blend forever, so obviously don't try to overblend, because that's gonna just muddy it up or take color away, and that's not really what you want. So know your limits, don't be like me. So if you're pretty much happy with the color buildup you have on your lids, which I am thus far, I'm gonna take that crease shade I used on this blending brush again and just go over any harsh edges that I might see, or any spots that require more like pigment on the crease. Alright, so now I'm ready for the darkest, rich chocolatey brown shade, and that's this one, Choco Loco. So I'm going to take that on that same flat packing brush and add it under where I put the second darkest chocolatey brown shade. So I'm going to really stay pretty much 1/4 of an inch above the lash line, just like really keeping it closer to the lash line and diffusing it. So just adding like further depth to this whole gradient effect. Can you guys hear that thunder? It like never happens in LA. Weird day. Okay, so now that we have the color packed onto our lid area, essentially, we're gonna take the blending brush and again get rid of any of the harsh edges we may see. It's kind of like pack it on and then blend, pack it on and then blend, and repeat pretty much. And it really does help when blending to take the previous shade you layered on before this darkest shade and just take a little bit of that to just blend the edges too. That really helps. And it's just inevitable when you're blending that some of the color you packed on may just kind of be brushed away. And if that's the case, you just keep packing it on until you're happy with the amount of color that's concentrated on your eye. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with how my eyes look. I don't need my shadow to be super dark. I just need them to have enough depth to kind of draw attention away from the puffiness of my eyes. So now just taking a fluffier brush, just kind of clean, you know, nothing really much on it. I'm gonna take this and blend out the edges right under my brow to make sure that there's no harshness going on here, and it's just kind of seamlessly blending into the brow bone area. So now we're at a stage where we're pretty much ready for eyeliner on the top lash line. So this is completely optional, but I like to take like a darker shade, maybe even like a black shade like right here, and take it on a flat small brush and just kind of run it along my lash line just to create even more depth. This is completely optional. It's not something that you need to do, but I just like doing it because it kind of takes away the harshness of my usual liquid eyeliner and just kind of smokes it out and softens it out, and I kind of like that look, so that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. It really doesn't need to be too much, just a little bit to help smoke everything out a little bit and just soften it out. And I like keeping it towards the outer corner a little bit thicker here, and barely really touching the inner half of my eye. Okay, and again, this is completely optional. You can leave it as is, because already your eyes are probably looking not so puffy and just a little more accentuation on the eyes themselves instead of like the lids being so heavy and red and just fleshy, you know? So I personally can't live without having a winged liner, so I'm just gonna go ahead and wing my eyes out using just a Tarte felt tip black eyeliner. And if you are doing this along with me, I do suggest kind of keeping the eyeliner towards the outer half, really close to the lash line, and barely touching the inner part of your lash line, because if you make it too thick over here, it might make it seem a bit overwhelmed and a little heavy. So it does definitely open up, if your eyes are shaped like mine, it does definitely open up your eyes a lot more if you were to keep this inner part barely lined and keep the outer part more thick. And I feel like on the days that my eyes are swollen like this, I like to drag out my liner a little longer and kind of open up my eyes like this. So I feel like it really takes attention away again from the fleshy part of your eyelid. It really gives attention to your eye as well as this like fierce liner you have going on. Now when it comes to the part where you want to line the inner part of your eyes, just take your eyeliner, lay it flat like this, and just kind of carefully, as close to the lash line as possible, just stamp it along the lash line. This just helps create like the thinnest line. I don't know if you can see that, but it just helps create like the thinnest line possible. Okay, so liner is done and I'm already feeling way more like myself. So now I think we're pretty much good to apply false lashes. Since we lined the entire length of our lash line, the lash band really isn't gonna be an eyesore or sticking out or really obvious, because it's gonna be hiding where you already lined your eyes. So I'm gonna just take a pretty basic pair. It's probably the Demi Wispies from Ardell, and I'm just gonna pop them on and I'll be right back. Oh, and if you're at all curious on how to go about putting on false lashes, I do have a video, so I'll just link it in the card and you can go ahead and check that out too. All right, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put on my rest of the face makeup here and I'll be right back. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and use some bronzer here. It's called the Deep Bronzer in the Muru Muru collection, so I'm just gonna take that in the ColourPop F21 brush right here, and I'm gonna chisel out the cheekbones. All right, and I'm gonna try out the blush. I never really wear blush, but since it's here, why not? I'm gonna try it. It's called the Vintage Rouge, and I'm taking that on the same brush that I used for the bronzer, but there's barely any product left on here, so I'm just gonna put that on my cheeks. All right, so ColourPop's brush bundle doesn't really have like a highlighting brush. I would say the closest thing that might come to it is the earlier blending brush that I used called E15 here. That's probably the best bet for highlighter, but I already used it to blend out my eyeshadow, so I'm just gonna use this thicker one here. I'm sure it'll be fine, the F20. And I'm gonna take the highlight shade here in the Muru Muru collection. I'll probably use like a mixture of this white highlighting shade and this like more peachy golden tone. So I'll just like mix these two slightly here, not too much, and just go ahead and lightly apply that to the tops of my cheekbones, and that's actually quite nice. I'm not gonna go too crazy. I just like applying just a little bit of glow to add that freshness. So I'll just go ahead and apply that on the other cheek. Just very lightly dusting it on. Oh, that is quite pretty. Can you guys see that? Just lightly on the nose. Like very lightly. A little bit on the Cupid's bow, because I can. Alright, so for the lipstick, I'm just going to use a lip brush here. It's ColourPop's L1 lip brush here. And I'm going to take the lipstick collection here, and I'm going to just pick like probably a mixture of these two shades and apply it on my lips. These are definitely more glossy, like sheer formulas, so not as like super pigmented. Now just a little bit of setting spray to bring everything together. Alright friends, so that pretty much concludes our swollen eye makeup look of the day. I hope that you guys found it useful, and I know that when I was growing up, I always searched YouTube for like swollen eye makeup tutorials, because there'd be nights when I'd have a good cry, but the next morning I look like I have like 3 pounds of added flesh on my eyelids. So I really desperately wanted to find somebody that could show me how to do my makeup when my eyes were really swollen Unfortunately, that wasn't really available for me growing up, but I hope that this video can be useful to those of you that are looking for this particular look. Another thing to note though, I didn't really add like eyeshadow underneath my eyes, like on the lower lash line. That's just not the look I was going for today. I wanted it to look a little more fresh, a little more like open-eyed, instead of like sultry and smoked out on the lower lash line. So if you guys are into like the more smoky, sultry eye look, then I would recommend adding some eyeshadow on the lower lash line. But for me, that was just not the look I was going for today. So I just kept it, you know, kind of clean, and it doesn't really look super unbalanced either on my eyes. Of course, you guys are free to cater it and customize it to your needs and to meet the shape of your eyes and whatever, you know, you like, your preferences are. Again, let me know if you guys want like a standalone review on any of the products that I tried today. I think so far it turned out really pretty great overall, as like a very glowy, fresh, like you couldn't tell if I was crying all night yesterday, which I wasn't, but like you couldn't tell if I was, you know, like that kind of a look. So I look very fresh, and that's exactly the look I was going for. I hope you guys are able to learn a thing or two and found it valuable. And with that, I will see you guys next time in my next video. So love you guys so much. And before I end the video, I want to tell you guys how beautiful you are, how amazing, marvelous, a lovely creation of God. You are just amazing. You exude beauty. I just want to make sure that I say that at the end of every video, just because I feel like there's just not enough of positivity, especially regarding like to ourselves. So I want to make sure that we all love ourselves and just cherish the bodies that we have, the identities that we have, and just, you know, giving you a friendly reminder to do that, because I certainly need like almost minute by minute reminders. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye! Mwah.